God of War Ragnarok is right around the corner, and I am excited. God of War 2018 was an absolutely fantastic game, but it was not perfect. There were some things in it that I thought could have been done better, and I'm hoping they improve on those things in the sequel. I also hope the sequel continues the story in a really satisfying way. How about I list down the top 10 things I personally would like to see in God of War Ragnarok? I also should warn you, there will be spoilers for God of War 2018 in this video. You've been warned.
The number of the day is 10!
Faye. Faye, later revealed to be Lao Faye, was a very interestingly built-up character in the 2018 God of War game. And personally, I'd like to see something with her, maybe through flashback or something. Like, maybe show how she met Kratos, or show what kind of a mother she was. Now, I know some people might argue that the version they would show in the game would not be nearly as interesting as the version we can build up in our imagination, but I don't care. I want to really get to know Faye. I want to know more about the woman who Kratos fell in love with. I want to know more about the woman who helped him move on from everything in the past. The woman who raised Atreus, the woman who outsmarted the Asgardians, the woman who put together a years-long plan to take them down, the woman who originally wielded the Leviathan axe. Come on, Santa Monica, at least let me see what the heck she looked like.
9?
Better enemy variety. One thing just about everyone agreed on in God of War 2018 was that it was a bit lacking in the enemy variety, and super lacking in the boss and mini-boss variety. Now, hopefully that's a criticism Santa Monica will take with the new game, and it looks like they're already improving a bit. They've revealed Grimm's, Einherjar, and a bunch of dinosaur enemies, whatever the heck those are, probably Vanaheim dragons or something. But here's what I really want. Since we know we're going to all 9 realms in this game, I would like a unique set of enemies in every single realm. Let's really go crazy with all the different Norse and Germanic creatures out there. And the enemy type I think I want to see the most would be fire giants in Muspelheim. Oh, but wait, Mythology guy, I hear you say, all the giants were revealed to be dead at the end of the last game. Well, technically, those were the Jotunheim giants. The Muspelheim giants are a completely different race of giants, so we could still see them. Please?
Look out there, Sonny! You'll be number 8 if you don't hang on tight!
Allying with Asgard's enemies. The many tales of Mimir in the last game built up that the Asgardians have made a whole lot of enemies over the years. Now, I'm guessing that Atreus' plan might partially be to ally with some of those guys for the upcoming Battle of Ragnarok. I mean, we already allied with Jormungandr in the last game, and we know we're going to ally with Tyr, Skoll, and Hati in this game. Heck, Kratos picked up the soul of Andvari and the mind of Ivaldi in the previous game. Why not have those two play more of a role in the following game? And you know what would really be cool? What if we teamed up with the goddess Skadi? The last game changed up Skadi's story to create a much more tragic tale for her and much larger resentment towards Asgard. Skadi is a really awesome goddess of hunting and ice itself. How cool of an ally could she make to Kratos and Atreus in the upcoming game? It's something I'd really like to see. Plus, a teaser trailer revealed that Fenrir will be in the game. He's no friend of the gods either. There are so many enemies of Asgard, not only in the original Norse stories, but created even more rivalrous in the new God of War canon, that there's really just about endless possibilities for the number of teammates Kratos and Atreus could pick up to fight in their war against Asgard. I hope they do something with that.
7.
Pardon me?
7 single acts of indiscretion.
Nagelfar. For anyone who doesn't know the story of Nagelfar, I'll give you a little brief rundown. When Ragnarok happens, all of the enemies of the gods are going to get onto a ship that comes from Helheim, the land of the dead. This ship will include Droger, giants, monsters, and anyone else who's ready to fight against Asgard for Ragnarok. This ship, called Nagelfar, or the Ship of Nails, is built in Helheim out of all the fingernails and toenails of people who have died over the years. I really want to see that thing appear in this game. I've always thought Nagelfar is a really cool ship idea, a really epic visual possibility. Just picture all the enemies of Asgard, thousands of them all on one boat. It's like the evil Noah's Ark or something like that. And some of you may be thinking, well, in the original tale, Loki's supposed to pilot that ship. Is he going to pilot it here? Maybe, but also, there's another captain of the Nagelfar ship, Hrym, a Droger giant. I would love to see him in this game. I think that would be amazing. And this game is God of War Ragnarok. I don't see how you can have Ragnarok without Nagelfar. Now, whether or not Kratos and Atreus will be on Nagelfar, allying Nagelfar, or fighting against and destroying Nagelfar, I don't know, but I want to see it appear because I always thought it was epic and cool, and it seemed like they were building up more use of Helheim in the previous game. Like there's a lot to it we still haven't seen. I don't know if they could incorporate Hel herself, considering her connection to Loki and who Loki actually is in the current God of War canon, but it would be really cool if we did. Basically, I want to see Helheim play more of a big role in this game, and I think Nagelfar is a perfect way to execute that.
6.
Woo! Surtr. Surtr, or Surtr, is another essential player in the tale of Ragnarok. The very first and king of the fire giants who wields a gigantic flaming sword. And I don't want to hear anyone telling me he can't be in the game because all the giants are supposed to be dead, because he was built up in the previous game in one of the stories. So I really think he can appear here, and frankly, I don't see how we can have Ragnarok without a player like Surtr. Much like I want Nagelfar to represent the epicness of Helheim during Ragnarok, I think Surtr needs to show up to represent the epicness of Muspelheim during Ragnarok. And he's a really, really cool character. And for anyone who doesn't know, Surtr is supposed to kill Faye, Freya's brother, during Ragnarok. How interesting could that be to incorporate that? After what Freya has already lost in the previous game, to see her lose her brother as well? It could drive her over the edge. And for anyone who also doesn't know, Freya's death is never specifically mentioned in Ragnarok, so they could pretty much do whatever they want with her in this game, and I think introducing Surtr would be a great way to give her more character development.
Lefty is $5! You guys seeing this shit?
Let me wield Mjolnir. Please, I'm not the only one who wants this. There are so many people who want Thor's hammer to become a usable weapon in this new game, and it would be a perfect way to step it up. The first game had us start with the Leviathan Axe, an ice-themed weapon, and then towards the end we got the Blades of Chaos, fire-themed weapons that completely changed up the gameplay and made it more interesting. Now in this game, you could have us start with those two, and then towards the end of the game, give us Mjolnir, a heavy, lightning-themed weapon. It's a perfect addition, and it could play completely different from the other two weapons. While the axe feels light and spinny and goes forward and back to us, and the blades feel long and quick-moving and fiery, the hammer of Thor could feel heavy and like it has real weight to it. When you throw it, it could pin enemies, similar to one of the only good things about that Marvel's Avengers game. It could be really, really fun to use. I'm pretty sure every single person who picks up this game would love it if they could at some point use Thor's hammer as a regular weapon during the endgame. I mean, I don't expect Thor to be the final boss, to be honest. I expect that to maybe be Odin. And how cool would it be to fight Odin with his own son's hammer? Come on, guys, this is what literally everyone wants. Let us use the hammer. Oh, but I hear some of you say, Kratos can't lift the hammer because he doesn't have the gloves from Norse mythology. Well, have you seen Thor in this game? He doesn't have them either. So I really don't think that matters. Just give me the darn hammer and let me smash people with it.
4! Fine shot.
Atreus truly becoming Loki. Now, the fact that Atreus is actually Loki was a big twist at the end of the last game, and now this is the game where you really go into the meaning of that. Don't just make it something that could take or leave either way. Make the fact that Atreus is Loki really have a big impact on what happens in this game. Loki is the main cause of Ragnarok in Norse mythology. I'm sure they're going to do that here, but I also want to see Atreus really become more like how Loki is in the myth. He doesn't necessarily have to turn out to be evil. Even Loki wasn't evil until later Christian influence on Norse culture. But I do want to see him learn to be tricky, learn to outsmart others. In fact, they already have good establishment for that since his mother outsmarted all of Asgard. I don't see why that trait couldn't be passed down to Atreus. I also want to see them really go into his connections to Fenrir and Jormungandr, maybe even Hel and Angerboda. I want Jormungandr and Fenrir to be his children. Don't come up with some other random explanation. I want them to be his kids, and I want us to finally learn how exactly all of that works, like how Jormungandr went back in time. Did Fenrir do the same thing, or are we going to see his birth here too? We know Skull and Hati are in the game. They're Loki's grandchildren. How is that going to work here? And above all else, I want to see Atreus turn into an animal. It was built up in the previous game, and it's one of the main things Loki is known for. Let's see it happen, Santa Monica. Let's see Atreus not only get more of the personality of Loki, but the powers of Loki. I would so love it if Atreus' runic attacks, where he summons runic animals, ended up later in the game being completely replaced by Atreus just turning into those animals. How epic would that be? Do it.
Number three!
Plenty of Norse gods. Again, one of the main criticisms of the last game was kinda how they played just the tip with the Norse gods. Like, yeah, we got Balder, Magni, and Modi, but I don't think anyone was going into that game looking for Balder, Magni, and Modi. The gods we mainly want to see, of course, are Thor, Odin, and Loki. And we know we're getting all three of them, but I want more than that. I want to really see the gods of Asgard and the gods of Vanaheim. I want to see Heimdall. I want to see Vidar. I want to see Forseti, Sol, Njord, Freyr. I want to see plenty of gods. This is Ragnarok. They've confirmed this game will close out the Norse story, and if you're gonna do that, I really want to see an epic conclusion to at least a good handful of the Norse gods. There are so many amazing ones, and obviously I don't expect to see all of them, but let's at least see enough of them to really make this feel like this is a war. I already talked about how I want to see Skadi. She's probably one of the main ones I want to see, but I still want to see those others. Vidar is a really cool character. I think everyone would be thrilled to see Heimdall. Hell, I think Heimdall should be the boss we fight as soon as we get into Asgard. He's the one protecting it, and we know we're going to that realm. So, I really don't see an excuse for why we wouldn't. Freyr is a character we should definitely see. He's Freya's brother. Njord is Freya and Freyr's father, the king of the Vanir. I don't see why the heck he wouldn't be in there. Come on, Santa Monica. Let's really deliver and make the players feel like they got a satisfactory conclusion to the Norse mythology games.
Number two? Ah!
More stuff from the previous God of War games. One of the biggest highlights of God of War 2018 for me was when they suddenly started acknowledging the previous games. When Athena showed up, when the Blades of Chaos showed up, those things were amazing. Hell, when Zeus's face appeared in Helheim, I was so excited because I thought Zeus was actually down there. But I unfortunately found out later it was just an illusion. However, you can still go into that more in this upcoming game, and I do think it's important for Atreus to learn the truth about his father's past. He should learn about his father's previous family. He should learn about Deimos, about Calliope. And I also would really love to see, come on, Odin is going to do whatever it takes to take down Kratos, right? Can you imagine if Odin allied with Athena, or if he found some Greek gods who were still alive and told them where Kratos is and they came to kill Kratos? One thing I've wanted to see since the very first God of War game is Ares' children, Deimos and Phobos, come after Kratos for revenge. Please, at some point, do that. This is a good game you could do that in. They could, during all of this constant gathering of Norse resources and Norse characters and going up against Norse gods, how cool would it be if all of a sudden some Greek dudes showed up right the hell out of nowhere and attacked Kratos, and you found out it was part of Odin's plan. If he felt like he couldn't use what was in his homeland to fight Kratos, he would take something from Kratos' homeland and use it against him. I think that would be an incredible twist in the game, and I really think people would be happy to see it. There are a lot of people out there who feel like these new God of War games are not properly respecting the old ones. I disagree, but I do see where those people are coming from, and I think a great way to make those people a lot happier would be to do something like this.
It was his hat, Mr. Krabs. He was #1.
A new pantheon. We know from their reveals that this is going to be the last game in the Norse mythology arc. So, that means there's going to be another pantheon after this, and I want it to be revealed by the end of this game. We already know from the previous game that several other pantheons of gods exist, and Tyr has visited just about all of them. Since we're allying with Tyr in this game, I see no reason why he can't be the bridge that leads us to that next pantheon. Heck, they were originally going to make these new games take place in Egypt before they switched over to Norse. Maybe we could continue that idea. It would be really cool to see Egyptian gods in God of War. Hell, the original plan for the end of God of War 3 was that the Norse and Egyptian gods would show up and fight with Kratos. Maybe now that we've had Greek and Norse mythology, it's time to finally close it out with Egyptian. Or, if you want to go into another one, here's my personal top 2 picks. I would love to see either Japanese or Aztec mythology. Japanese because that mythology is absolutely insane, super creative, and I think there's so much fun you could have with just about any game set in ancient Japanese mythology. Or Aztec, because 1, it's criminally underused, and 2, it's insanely brutal. Kratos would feel right at home in an all-out battle with Huitzilopochtli, and if you don't know who I'm talking about, look it up, because, whoa, Aztec culture would be perfect for the God of War series in my honest opinion, and you can't change my mind. But I don't think that's where they're gonna go, but it doesn't mean they won't go there sometime in the future. I want God of War to continue past this series, continue past whatever pantheon follows up after it, because God of War is a really special series, and it's gotten a lot of people into mythology. I know I'm the kind of guy who makes inaccuracy videos on all the things God of War changes from the original myths, but it's not bad, it's awesome. I love God of War, and tons of other people love God of War, and one of the best things about God of War is just how passionate and caring the people who make these games are. People like Cory Barlog, who legitimately want to make great games. These are the kinds of people we need more of, and I'd love to see more work from them in the future. So, frankly, I can't wait to see how this new God of War game turns out, and I'm really excited to see where God of War goes from this point on.